Breaking news, folks, breaking news. From Global Research, delivery of U.S. weapons and ammunition to ISIS. Iraqi commander wiretaps ISIS communications with U.S. military. A commander of Iraq's Popular Forces disclosed that wiretapping of ISIL's communications has confirmed the reports that U.S. planes have been airdropping food and arms supplies for the Takfiri terrorists. The wiretap ISIL communications by Iraqi Popular Forces have revealed that the U.S. planes have been dropping weapons and foodstuff for the Takfiri terrorist group. Commander of Iraq's Ali Akbar Battalion told FNA on Wednesday. He noted that tapping on ISIL disclosed the terrorist group's regular contacts with the U.S. Army and said they exchanged sentences like if they would have a share of the ammunition dropped near Spiker military base, or responses such as, "You will also receive your share." The U.S. forces, by dropping weapons and ammunition for ISIL, especially in Yazreb, al-Ramadi, and near Spiker base in Hay al-Qadisiyah, have provided a lot of help to the ISIL, he added. Many similar reports by Iraqi officials and forces have surfaced in the last few months. In February, an Iraqi provincial official lashed out at the Western countries and their regional allies for supporting Takfiri terrorists in Iraq, revealing that the U.S. airplanes still continue to airdrop weapons and foodstuff for the ISIL terrorists. The U.S. planes have dropped weapons for the ISIL terrorists in the areas under ISIL control and even in those areas that have been recently liberated from the ISIL control to encourage the terrorists to return to those places. Coordinator of Iraqi Popular Forces, Jafar al-Jabiri, told FNA. He noted that eyewitnesses of al-Haviyeh of Kirkuk province had witnessed the U.S. airplanes dropping several suspicious parcels for ISIL terrorists in the province. 2 coalition planes were also seen above the town of Al-Khaz in Diyala, and they carried the Takfiri terrorists to the region that has recently been liberated from ISIL control, al-Jabiri said. Meantime, head of Iraqi Parliament's National Security and Defense Committee, Hakam al-Zamili, also disclosed that the anti-ISIL coalition planes have dropped weapons and foodstuff for the ISIL in Salahuddin, Al-Anbar, and Diyala provinces. In January, al-Zamili underlined that the coalition is the main cause of ISIL's survival in Iraq. There are proofs and evidence for the U.S.-led coalition's military aid to ISIL terrorists through air-dropped cargoes, he told FNA at the time. He noted that the members of his committee have already proved that the U.S. planes have dropped advanced weaponry, including anti-aircraft weapons, for the ISIL, and that it has set up an investigation committee to probe into the matter. The U.S. drops weapons for the ISIL on the excuse of not knowing about the whereabouts of the ISIL positions and is trying to distort the reality with its allegations. He noted that the committee had collected the data and the evidence provided by eyewitnesses, including Iraqi army officers and popular forces, and said these documents are given to the investigation committee and the necessary measures will be taken to protect the Iraqi airspace. Also in January, another senior Iraqi legislator reiterated that the U.S.-led coalition is the main cause of ISIL's survival in Iraq. The international coalition is only an excuse for protecting the ISIL and helping the terrorist group with equipment and weapons, Jom Divan, who is member of the Al-Sadr bloc in Iraqi parliament, said. Stop for a moment here. What have I been telling you? That Obama administration has been supporting them and giving them weapons. And here you go. Here's the proof right here. In late December, Iraqi Parliamentary Security and Defense Commission, I think that's military police, disclosed that a U.S. plane supplied the ISIL terrorist organization with arms and ammunition in Salahuddin province. Majid al-Gharari stated that the available information pointed out that the U.S. planes are supplying ISIL organization not only in Salahuddin province but also in other provinces, Iraq TradeLink reported. He added that the U.S. and the international coalition are not serious in fighting against the ISIL organization because they have the technological power to determine the presence of ISIL gunmen and destroy them in 1 month. Yeah, I've been telling you that too. You know, our other wars that we had out there, we obliterated them, you know, within days. So this is all a setup. Anybody who believes that Obama and the government's telling you it's going to take months or years to get rid of ISIS is just flat out lying to you. Also in late December, a senior Iraqi lawmaker raised doubts about the seriousness of anti-ISIL coalition led by the U.S. and said that the terrorist group still received aids dropped by unidentified aircraft. The international coalition is not serious about airstrikes on ISIL terrorists and is even taking to take out the popular voluntary forces from the battlefield against the Takfiri so that the problem with ISIL remains unsolved in the near future. No, I'm not going to pronounce that. The ISIL terrorists are still receiving aids from unidentified fighter jets in Iraq and Syria, she added. You know, this is all part of this coming war, Psalms 83 war, and trying to get a covenant signed and trying to annihilate Israel in the Psalms 83 war. That's what this is about. The satanic governments of this world. In late December, the U.S.-led coalition dropped aids to the Takfiri militants in the area north of Baghdad. I wonder why they're calling them Takfiri militants instead of ISIS. Field sources in Iraq told Al-Manar that the international coalition airplanes dropped aids to the terrorist militants in Balad, an area which lies in Salahuddin province north of Baghdad. In October, a high-ranking Iranian commander also slammed the U.S. for providing aid supplies to ISIL, adding that the U.S. claims that the weapons were mistakenly airdropped to ISIL were untrue. The U.S. and the so-called anti-ISIL coalition claim that they have launched a campaign against this terrorist and criminal group while supplying them with weapons, food, and medicine in Jalalabad region, a town in Diyala Governorate, Iraq. This explicitly displays the falsity of the coalition's and the U.S. claims, Deputy Chief of Staff of Iranian Armed Forces Brigadier General Masoud Jaziri said. The U.S. claimed that it had airdropped weapons and medical aid to Kurdish fighters confronting the ISIL in Kobani near the Turkish border in northern Syria. The U.S. Defense Department said that it had airdropped 28 bundles of weapons and supplies, but one of them did not make it into the hands of the Kurdish fighters. Yeah, sure. Video footage later showed that some of the weapons that the U.S. airdropped were taken by ISIL militants. The Iranian commander insisted that the U.S. had the necessary intelligence about ISIL's deployment in the region and that their claims to have mistakenly airdropped weapons to them are as unlikely as they are untrue. You know, I think we could win the war on ISIS if the U.S. just got out of there. This is terrible. I'm ashamed to live in a country that causes people to die, to be beheaded, to promote Christians to dying. It's no wonder why our military is turning against Christianity and our prisons and military are lifting up Muslim and Islamic mosque across the country and the world. It's just, it all makes sense, you know? It really does. Folks, this hasn't happened just once. Note again, many similar reports by Iraqi officials and forces have surfaced in the last few months. It's just now that it's coming out. So, this is big time. They're busted, and this is only global research. I can't vouch for them. I don't know how accurate they are in reporting the truth, but I'm just giving you a heads up. This is big stuff to pray about. We have to get in our prayer closet and pray to God about this, that Jesus protects us. God protects us through these terrible times, and that the rapture happens soon, because this Psalms 83 war is starting to wrap up here. It's gonna start real soon here. Boy, we sure live in exciting Bible prophecy days, don't we? All right, folks, that'll be it for tonight. God bless.